I don't know, man. Those are just a few things.
I've seriously been like shitting on the game this whole video. Just an old grump cynic.
We gotta have two sides of the coin.
I'm excited, but I'm shitting on every point.
Yo, what's up, everybody? It is Tom and Scott back again, and a new game is kind of on our radar. Everyone, get your popcorn out because we're going to talk about it. And that game is Dune Awakening. Ever since we saw Force Gaming do a video on this, kind of talking about everything we know so far, we've been just very actually interested in wanting to know more. And just like a quick overview, why we're excited for this, and Scott, I'll let you go after this and you can tell me what I left out, but it's taking the survival genre and kind of marrying it with the MMO genre, and it sounds like they're doing
new era, baby.
Well, a new evolution for sure, because it sounds like they're doing it in a way that is really appealing to both of these crowds. Like, of course, you have games like Rust out there, right, which is very Sandbox kind of a game, open world, build your bases, stuff like that. And then you have things like maybe like Valheim, which is more on the construction part, the gathering of resources, which is a lot of fun. And then you have other games that are even more survival heavy, right? And so I don't think anyone has been able to do all of those things just perfect. So Dune is going to have the survival elements. Of course, if you know Dune, if you've read the books, if you watch the movies, you know that the water aspect is going to be huge, right? The survival part of needing to have water all the time, the storms on Arrakis, how you're going to have shelter, and you're going to have to build and have those sorts of things, all the way up to vehicles. And spice is obviously going to be the central theme, the thing that, you know, you as an individual or guilds, the resource that you're going to need to fight over, creating that sandbox like tension between players, depending on how you form factions or guilds. All right, Scott, so I just listed a whole bunch of stuff that this game is going to do, kind of a 1,000-foot view of everything they're going to try to pack into this game. What is standing out to you that is, I know we're both hyped for it, but what in particular are you really excited about when you heard about this project?
So the first thing is, this is what I've been talking about, blending of survival and MMO. It has two things for both types of players from that have been fans of one or the other or both. When it comes to survival, there's two things that are the most important to me, and that's the depth of the survival and the focus on exploration. The depth of survival is because I think, number one, you don't want the survival aspect to feel overly complicated and too tedious. It takes away from the rest of the game to enjoy it, because you're always like, they make it literally survival. I want it to feel survival-esque enough to be interesting, but not too much to just bog you down, essentially. Okay. So in the very limited stuff they mentioned, I think they're going for that kind of Valheim-esque type thing. Now, the second part being exploration. What good is an open world if the open world is just boring and has nothing other than just space? And those two things I mentioned are, you want the world that you're in. It doesn't have to be super huge, but I want the world to feel just big enough to where it is interesting to explore and has things to actually explore. And the most that kind of the video game rush that we all look for, whether it be nostalgia or an aspect of a game or what, the last time I really had that was in Valheim, when Mikey and I built our first little raft to go to the other part of the dark forest. And it was just enough survival that we're doing all right with food, and now we were exploring into the unknown. Yeah. And it was just fun. So if you can connect those two and make them meaningful and actually just enjoyable, then you got a winning product on your hand there.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. That was one of the things that had me hyped, hearing about the survival, because for me, that's why I haven't actually jumped into a bunch of survival games, because the tedium of keeping up with all the stuff to keep you alive so that then you can go do the stuff you want to do, for me, is just not the type of gameplay I'm looking for. So if they can strike that balance, right, of not being too tedious, but it's just so intriguing, the water discipline from, you know, the Dune series and just the storms that you have to deal with, that just, it fits into the game so nicely that it makes sense for me, and it doesn't seem too much. So I'm hoping that's where it lands. And then exploration, they mentioned, they had a specific like a buzzword for it, I'm forgetting it now, but every time a new storm comes in, it's gonna cover up areas and uncover new areas. So it's gonna change.
I think they called it infinite exploration.
I think you're right. Bingo. Yeah. So this is a really cool concept, and the way they said, or why this is important, is every time the world changes, it's going to encourage guilds or groups to get out to see what is new, because the old stuff is going to be gone. So you're like, okay, where's the new spot to get spice or other things that we need to go scavenge for? And so
it makes exploring really worthwhile and fun.
And then the cool thing for me that has really got my attention in this game, different than a lot of MMOs, is, and we kind of touched on this in our last podcast with James and Coltrane, is almost like a PlanetSide 2 feel of just this massive battle going on. Of like a Battlefield-esque, or PlanetSide 2 where you have the tanks flying in, the jets, you have ground infantry, you have all these different elements coming together to just make this really cool combat experience. And so I think that's cool. I really want to see how that plays out, how the range versus melee.
Sure.
I just think PlanetSide 2, like James mentioned before, it didn't get it exactly right, but there is a formula out there where it works really well, I think. And so
I mean, I know the footage that we've seen is pretty alpha. You can tell it looks quite rough around the edges still. But some refinement, and that would look good. I know it's alpha. Maybe I'm just overcritical these days, but it's like, in 2023, I expect to see some pretty good graphics, right, in a game of this scale and in the genre. So I hope it doesn't look like it does now in alpha, because I did not dig that.
Well, like you said, they got a long way to go, so I'm sure we're in store for more. And I think the other thing that the MMO genre is really in need of right now, and we'll be quick on this, because I think a lot of the newer MMO players don't have a point of reference anymore, because if they've just started playing.
Good point.
Is a good sandbox MMO experience, right? Like, really, what is out there? I mean, off the top of my head, nothing is coming to mind, at least of note.
There's been no true sandbox for a long time.
You have elements in a few games here and there, like more sand park kind of, where they're trying to marry the two, and maybe they will in this one, we don't know. But a real sandbox game where you have to go out into the world and kind of make it on your own. I'm hoping they have open world housing, some of those features that sandbox games
I have a feeling it's going to feel more like a Division with Valheim elements, which I'm all for, honestly. Like, that'd be sweet,
I was hoping more like SWG with survival elements was kind of my hope in a way, depending on how hardcore it is, obviously. No, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say, like, how it's not going to be like SWG is, it's almost like the way they described the PvP, it felt more Battlefield or Halo. Correct. Where you have the infantries and the ground ships and the air, like so it looks like it's already gonna have large scale PvP, and that goes into me thinking about server stability and what kind of combat system it's based off of. Like, I don't know, man. Third person, no tab, no targeting on a multiple person battlefield. Like, I don't know. I'm just
we're
not
seeing
sure.
good things from Unreal 5, though. I don't know if it's in Unreal 5, but we're seeing some early things that Unreal can handle some of this stuff. So there's hope, and the technology is going to keep getting better. But all right, guys, so that is a few of the things that has us really excited for Dune, and we don't even know that much about the game so far, but what we do know is really cool, really exciting. So man, let us know in the comments, what are you excited about? And yeah, if you like this video, give us a like, a sub, and man, we'll keep making more. But until next time, see you guys later.
Is it sad that I expect every game to just be now? Well, every single game that I'm excited about, I'm just like, yeah, it's probably. And I said in our chat earlier, I said, or a couple days ago, I said, oh, Starfield's coming out too. And you're like, it's going to be crap. It's like, well, I already wasn't going to play it because I don't have time. But now that it's going to be crap, now I don't have to worry about it.
It's not going to be crap. This is going to take them a year to get it, to fix it after it launches, probably.
Right.